Hello everyone, it's Mike Levin, Wednesday, April 13th, 2016, and I'm on my way to the office, and my latest project runs me up against all the issues of hitting different data sources and sort of mashing them up into a hybrid report that's highly customized, that might surface custom indexes that you invent against different KPI metrics data points that you pull, and it's really a pipulate hot spot, or sweet spot I should say. And I'm doing it the manual way, doing manual data pulls against things such as a direct equivalent of an ODBC connection. It's a JDBC connection that you use for the Amazon Redshift cloud database system, which is essentially Postgres in the Amazon services, a cluster database thing that you can just run standard SQL against with tools like Query Analyzer, which I'm familiar with from my Microsoft SQL Server days. But the point is that it's tricky to do, and there's a lot of products out there that pose to do this sort of connecting to multiple data sources and creating automations, everything from Zapier to if this and that. There's things that even do it in the Google Sheets spreadsheet environment, which is my usual trick, such as Supermetrics, and they come with connectors, and their code actually executes within the Google, I guess it's the App Engine code execution context. It executes in their servers in the cloud. It's not all web server JavaScript based code as you would think, for the sake of everything from scheduling to scaling. And I tried using Supermetrics for the current project and came up short for a variety of reasons, not the least of which is if they didn't write a data connector for something, I was sort of stuck and had to go back to more of the custom home-built solutions. And if I'm gonna have to go to custom home-built anyway, why let one of these vendors stick their hand in your pocket for whatever it is that they ask, $30 a month? No matter how high value it seems on the surface, they really only provide what they make it easy for you to provide. And it's not always the data that you need to connect to, nor the way to report or visualize it that you need, or even if it is the data you need to connect to, it's not shaping that data, it's not transforming it in the way that you need from a more, say, granular source like web logs into a more rolled up or aggregate or analytics friendly format like time series. So doing those transformations is also often in the picture beforehand. So it's nice to have something powerful in the middle. And this is where the concept of middleware, always comes up, and Java is very frequently thought of as, the popular middleware, language. But I'm finding Python is very competent for that. So if I wanted to hit 3 different data sources, I could mock something up right on my desktop using Python, even using the local JDBC connection that these third-party things aren't going to be able to do. And then once I have it working, I can, toss it on over to the DevOps or tech team, and they can sort of take it and, if they want, deconstruct it and rebuild it however they like, but also just take my code and drop it into, any scheduled context, and take the output of my function and drop it into any, data, warehouse or, collector that they want. And You don't have the vendor dependencies. You always have some vendor dependencies. You can't get away from it. Even with the approach we're taking, we're using Amazon, but we're using it for IT infrastructure, which gets to another interesting point. It's fine to rely on infrastructure as a service, IaaS, because you can always just unplug what you wrote from here, plug it in over there, and you know, you're in business. You can't necessarily do that when you use service, software as a service, or let's see, infrastructure is fine. Platform as a service, that's where you run into problems. So these things like the Google App Engine, anywhere where your code is executing in any context other than a standard Unix or Linux style web server with, you know, admin level permissions if you need it when the time comes for you to do fancy stuff, then you are making stuff that is tied to that platform. You can't pick it up and pop it in somewhere else necessarily. And so that's where I am right now, mindset wise. I actually plan on following through on my plans with this report to do as much of it as possible using just Python as the middleware. Installing whatever client libraries are needed locally, getting whatever local database connections I need, doing the mashup right there, and then outputting the data wherever it needs to go. In the short term, probably directly into Google Spreadsheets using the wonderful Gspread package from GitHub, which is my alternative to GData. GData, which is the official Google one that's provided in Python and a bunch of other languages, seems to be a bit overkill for what I need, and is not, well, I have to check, but the Python version, when last I checked, was not on Python 3. And I have ambitions to keep all my work easily portable, especially Pipulate I'm talking about, to Python 3 when the time comes. So that means, you know, using Gspread, both for simplicity and portability. And and I guess also the requests package for the same portability advantage. And today I'm going in to finish out this project, and the integration work is probably more than I'm ready to do in the short term under Python directly, because client libraries, learning curves. So I'll probably leverage Supermetrics or manual data polls for the Google Analytics and Webmaster Tools portion of the project, and then you know, come up with the automation plan soon following that. But the automation plan, in all likelihood, is installing whatever client libraries are needed for this work, Python client libraries, doing the work locally with standard Python functions designed as sort of middleware, and then keep all of that plug-in compatible with Pipulate, because standard Python functions is just right into Pipulate, and it becomes stuff that you can then, you know, use on an ad hoc basis anytime you want, and invite a particular Gmail in, and it becomes a scheduled task, with the only question being, what about those local database connections? I can't run this on the Pipulate servers that I have out there in the cloud now. No problem, just create a new instance of Pipulate here on the internal network if necessary, where the local JDBC connection is not a problem. Bam, local instance of Pipulate mashing up against privileged local data sources. So that's my automation plan here, and there's a bunch of little projects coming up. I'm viewing this as my way of sort of re-kickstarting the whole Pipulate free and open source SEO software endeavor, with some of it going into the public world and some of it staying in the proprietary private world. Anyway, that's it for this video. Thanks for joining me. Hope to talk to you soon. And don't forget to subscribe.